today's Aquila University. We are going to be discussing eCopy for medical devices. Note, the training is being recorded and will be available on our website. If you have any concerns about your WebEx name or question, and of course any answer being on our website, please disconnect now and we will be happy to send you an email when the training is available for you to review. My name is Josh Boutwell, and I founded Aquila Solutions in 2010, and since then we've been helping a variety of sponsors with their submissions problems, including some medical device companies and eCopy. Today we're going to be discussing what is eCopy. We'll go over who must submit these submissions, and we'll discuss the general structure of the eCopy submission. So eCopy. Well, fundamentally, eCopy is an exact electronic copy of your medical device application. It's just as simple as that. There's nothing particularly complex about it. It really is following the same route that FDAs and BLAs with small molecules took in the 90s, early first decade of this century, where there were, while it wasn't required to be electronic, and most things were still paper, you did opt to send an electronic copy, and then eventually you were required to send an electronic copy. This is the same sort of concept. This is an exact copy, an exact duplicate of your paper submission. You don't have anything really fancy. You just structure it the same way you would your paper binders, but it's on a CD or a DVD or a flash drive or something else. And it's sent with the paper copy. The nice thing is it reduces the number of paper copies you have to send. So, who must submit a copy? Well, there are a variety of different submission types, and while FDA likes eCopy for everything, it's not required for absolutely everything, just most things. As you can see, compassionate use IDEs and emergency use IDEs are voluntary, as are a few other things. But for the most part, if you're sending something to CDRH, you're going to have to send an eCopy. What is the structure of eCopy? Well, it's very simple. A lot of sponsors are concerned that they won't understand eCopy, that they won't know how to put it together or anything like that. It's very straightforward. It's not like the ECTD standard or any of the other electronic standards that are out there. It's about as simple as you can get. First, there's a cover letter, and the cover letter includes some specific text that we'll cover, but it's nothing fancy. Next, there's you decide whether you're going to send it as a volume or non-volume structure. I really recommend volume structures just because it's easier to sort through. And you have a standardized naming scheme, a location for sort of extra files that don't fit in anywhere. Finally, there is some remediation and, of course, submission. So, your cover letter. eCopy must have a cover letter with the statement The eCopy is an exact duplicate of the paper copy. And there is something different, which you need to try to avoid this if at all possible, but if it's unavoidable because of the nature of the data, then you have the text, it's an exact duplicate of the paper copy except, and then you list out absolutely everything that's different. I spoke volume versus non-volume. This is talking about how the files are sorted on the actual disk with the eCopy. The volume breaks it down according to the volumes. The non-volume breaks it down, doesn't mention the volume at all. And that's only for those submissions that only have one volume. Now, if the volume submission, I just want to make sure you noted that the numbering restarts with inside every folder. So every folder begins with the 001. So for the file naming scheme, it's again very straightforward. Folders, if you're using the volume system, are VOL underscore a number underscore some descriptive text. The names have the number underscore and again some descriptive text. It would include each document. In this case, the cover letter is a document. Your table of contents is a document. Your checklist for your environmental checklist is a standalone document. It would be included with its own number. Your file names are descriptive, and all files are PDFs. You cannot submit anything but a PDF. You want to make sure your PDFs are 50 megabytes or less. You can things down into a more granular or just smaller file, but you want to make sure nothing is over 50 megabytes. Now, there are some extra files. There is a miscellaneous files folder, which is for anything that is not a PDF. In this case, so for instance, you may have images or your Word copy or Excel or something like that. Each of those groupings would be a zip file. And the zip files will be just under the miscellaneous files. Then your statistical data, which again is a zip file. You zip up your entire database and put in the statistical data file, and that you can send it in. The file, again, it must contain zip files, and again, they're looking for 50 megabytes or less. You break down zip files, the files into multiple zip files if you need to. Now, for the remediation, number one, again, verify everything is 50 megabytes or less. Check your Adobe version. If Adobe is too advanced, FDA not have a copy of that version, and they won't be able to open the files correctly. Generally, avoid scanned documents, and this is true across the board. The reason being is that scanned documents are much more difficult to read. They tend to be much larger and would therefore more likely bump into the 50 megabyte level, and they're harder to search through. They're harder to review. If you do have any scanned documents, you should run OCR on them. You don't need to go through and validate it to make sure it's precisely right. Just run the standard Adobe OCR, and that's sufficient. They want to create internal bookmarks and links, and this is the same you would use the same standards that are used in ECTD, drugs, biologics, everything else. The sort of linking and bookmarking standards. Now, generally, don't worry about external links. You can do them if you're sending them to Cber, but generally you won't be. It's not a big issue, and you can not worry about them. But if your project manager specifically asks for them, you may need to for Cber. How do you submit it? You have to print out the cover letter, and then you just copy the entire folder structure onto some sort of media, a CD or a DVD. You may also use a flash drive, and if it's large enough, potentially even tape drives or hard drives. The FDA has a list of suitable technologies for solutions. At this, are there any questions? Well, thank you for joining. Our next Aquila University will be discussing e-stability. This is a new standard that's under development now and is intended to replace stability data reports in your CMC section. It's definitely in the future, but it's always great to keep up with it. So I hope you will join us. It's May 20th at 2 p.m. Thanks. Have a great weekend.